Four Knights of the Apocalypse is back after a break, and man, last chapter was a really big cliffhanger. As we all know, Percival is back, and man, that was a really awesome return for Percival. And now with this chapter, we get to finally see Percival in action post time skip after those 2 years where he was away in the spirit realm or just being a life spirit in general. And this chapter did not disappoint. This was really good. And a lot happened in this chapter. A bit too quick if I were to complain. But in all honesty, I think it was done very well. And I cannot wait to see how this series progresses further now with Percival back. But before we jump right into this chapter, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make on this channel and shows you want to see more. Now, with that out of the way, let's jump right into things. So chapter 152 of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, titled The Return. And the cover image just puts a smile on my face. It's just all of Team Percival minus Sin, aka Lancelot, as the cover. And I already feel nostalgic for these designs, even though we've barely been a year into the post-time skip. But still, it just feels nice, especially with Percival's return, to just have this image of these characters like this, having fun and hanging out. But we start off in the chapter with Percival's return, as the White Knight Worldane is wondering what's going on, stating that Percival's got green hair, and hair in the shape of a bird. There's just no way, it's just silly. But she says it's funny to see you come out like this just so you can die with them. Tell me boy, are you a friend of the fairy clan? A human from Leonis? As Percival stares down Worldane, holding Naziennes, just proclaiming with full confidence, I am Percival of the Four Knights of the Apocalypse. I've come back here to defeat you. As Worldane states, are you joking? The reports all said Percival died a long time ago. If you really are him, let's see some evidence. And on cue, the entire Cayenne family starts getting up from their feet. As this shocks Worldane and everyone involved, as they all thought they had their hearts pierced. So this does confirm from last chapter that Worldane actually just pierced all their hearts with quick pinpoint precision. Now, while I'm still pretty upset that Diane was taken out in one shot seemingly again, we do get a bit more of a more concrete explanation as to why that was the case, but we'll get into that a bit later. Percival then starts to ask Naziennes about his sword, but Naziennes says, yeah, Tristan took it with him, and Percival laughs, stating, yeah, he would. But then, as Worldane now fully realizes this is Percival, she says, it is you. In that case, how about you die one more time for me, as she launches another barrage of laser attacks straight at Percival, as he quickly and effortlessly parries and just deflects all of them, shocking everyone. As all of them were just essentially deflected with a magic blade, as we see Percival standing there firm, didn't even move from his spot, creating a magic blade on his hand. Just like when he was first starting to utilize his hope magic in order to create like weapons and constructs, now he made one so neat, so precise, a clean edge, showcasing a good mastery over his own powers now. And I think this has to do with him fully realizing who he is. So yeah, a really clean, really well and neat blade made from his own magic power. And in that instance, Worldane just dips out of there and starts chanting a spell. But instantaneously, Percival slashes her right across the head, knocking off her helmet as she stares back with Percival stating, Worldane, White Knight of the Four Evils, I'll give you a warning. Do you still want to resist me? Okay, I really like Percival just being really calm, cool, and collective, knowing I'm above you right now. I'm gonna possibly take you out. I'm gonna give you an out. Surrender, or you know you're gonna get effed up right now. I like that post-time skip Percival is just all about the business, no goofing around. And it shows, and I really like it. But Worldane, with that manic look in her eyes, laughs and says, well, of course I want to resist you. As then a giant black bolt in between them begins to crackle all throughout the area, as it then breaks and slices up the surrounding area with this black lightning. As this is called Dark Destroyer. As Worldane says, Let this black lightning burn you away. But then Percival chants Nadula Gemala, which is actually most likely the language of the spirits, which is similar to the language that he spoke when he was in his despair Percival mode all those chapters ago. Almost 100 chapters ago, to be honest, and that's a really long time since Percival's done this, and this is while he's still in his right mind. And after chanting this, Percival drains the life force out of Worldane, turning her from, let's just be honest, smoking hot, into a crumbling, decaying old woman in a blink of an eye. And I think this had to do with him literally coming in contact with her with his magic sword, knocking off her helmet. As in that instance, we see just the power and life force just drained from her in a quick instance, while Percival is just floating in the air. With everyone wondering what's happened to Worldane, King ponders to himself, is this the power of a life spirit? As Worldane, trying to get up after her life getting drained from her, states, how dare you? As the next page we see her as a literal crumbling mess, dried up like a mummy. Like this would have happened to Jade and Shion if Tristan didn't step in a long time ago. And she says, you killed off the human part of me, didn't you, Percival? This is very important information. As even Percival's like, oh, the human part? Huh, no wonder you're still alive. The other half of you isn't even human, huh? Which, first of all, Percival literally went for the kill in that instance. When she said no, he was like, alright, fine. Bam, you're dead. And she's still alive because she's not entirely human. She said, human part of me. So, this could either mean a few things. One, Worldane is also a hybrid like Lance and Tristan and the Cayenne kids, and that other half is human. And it could be some other race from the 7 Deadly Sins world. We just don't know. Or she perhaps had either two souls mixed together, and that's why she said human part of me, and that's what died. And what's left of her is the other being that she is herself. I'm more inclined to think that it's also a hybrid, and this could also end up being the case as to why Camelot kind of has that loophole of hybrids. Because if some of Arthur's elite knights are hybrids, then yeah, of course they'd be allowed in. But I don't think that's the case. I think it's just the fact that if you're part human or part human, you're able to enter Camelot. But that would be an interesting thing to add in if Worldane is just part human, and that's one of the reasons why Camelot lets in part humans. But yeah, that's crazy. Worldane might actually be a hybrid. What kind of hybrid? I got no idea. Maybe she's a wizard from Allyfun. It wasn't 100% confirmed that they were human. I think they're human. Or she could be some other race that we have no idea about, that we haven't explored in the 7 Deadly Sins world yet. Or perhaps the other part of her is a chaos creature or something. She is a crumbling old woman now, so who knows? There's just a lot to think about. But if she's two different beings mixed and sharing a singular body, that could also explain why she was so strong in the first place. Yeah, she got taken out by King twice due to circumstances, but even then, she still had enough life force to actually get back into the fight. And the other part was because she had the drug of yore. But now, her human side was killed off, and she's still kicking and breathing. So, that's just a lot to think about. And they could also explain why she's so much stronger than the average human without like an augmentation from chaos or some magical item like Beltrop or whatever. But yeah, just really interesting to think about. And that's a really important piece of dialogue. But moving on with the chapter, Worldane is just laughing it up, saying, oh dear, you're so much better than I ever imagined. Too bad you're still a child. You truly kid yourself into thinking you can beat me. Now this does showcase that there's something else in her, as she was still able to create these magical orbs seemingly around her, getting ready to attack Percival once more. And she's still confident enough that she'll be able to fight off Percival in this instance. Obviously, it could just be the fact that she's cocky, but the fact that she had her human side taken from her, essentially, and now she still has magic power left in her to fight and even float into the air, at minimum, is still crazy to think about. But Percival just smiles and says, hold on, not so fast. I'm not going to beat you at all. As we flip the page, King is right behind her, back in his Fairy King mode, launching Spirit Chastity Fold, right at her. Shastival then hits Worldane square right in, and I like this 2-page spread where everyone's reacting to King being back in his full power, Worldane getting hit by Chastifold, as she's wondering, how did you even become your original form? How did you get out of the curse? Kilbegin's curse grudge should have sealed away your power. He used his own life to set off that powerful curse. It can't be that easy. As Percival says, oh, yeah, sorry. As in the next page, Kilbegin is alive, surrounded by Percival's mini golems. He says, yeah, I wound up helping him out just before he fully lost his life. This could be a bit of a mistranslation in terms of fully, but in this instance, Percival literally, sometime after King got cursed, used his Percival golems to revive Kilbegin, and because the price in order for the curse to actually be active was Kilbegin's life, reviving him from the dead literally nullifies King's curse, bringing him back up to full health, and subsequently able to fight off Kilbegin at full strength again. That is crazy. I did not expect that to be the case. But that is a pretty interesting thing and adds a layer into the power system in terms of being like, okay, certain curses have certain conditions, but if the condition is null and void, then the curse is dispelled. Because it does make sense. Kilbegin's life was needed for the curse. But if Kilbegin is alive, then the process of the curse staying active without somebody knowledgeable of curses to break the curse, it actually makes a fair amount of sense if you really get down to think about it, because a lot of things have cause and effect. But yeah, I just find that an interesting thing. I thought we were going to keep King weak for a little bit, keep him nerfed for a little bit until eventually gets to Leonis, and maybe Thetis will help him, or maybe Merlin would show back up. But no, Percival was the key to bringing King back. So yeah, that's crazy, and I kind of love it. And in this instance, Worldane is being pushed at mass force through the gate of the fairy realm and outwards. Now, in one of the previous panels, she was still holding on to the Drug of Yore, so there's no clear indication that she dropped it again. We'll have to wait and see, because if she still has the Drug of Yore, then she technically got out of that with a win, because that's what they came to the fairy realm to begin with. But at the same time, she actually made Percival wake up sooner than most likely Percival even planned to. So, a win and a loss. A bit of a net even. But yeah, Worldane isn't confirmed to be dead. She might be, but based on how she survived a literal instant death kill from Percival, and there's another side of her that literally helped keep her magic power going to try and do more attacks, her getting knocked out of the fairy realm, that's something that I see happening. And this also, while getting her defeated, she's still a threat, especially if she goes back up to full health, but not the largest threat in the world. And it still shows that King is still at the top of the totem pole, just like some of the other sins. And Percival is very strong as well. But yeah, King says, oh man, well this time it's over. As he stares off after launching Worldane out into the human realm. And the final panel of the chapter in the last page is Nazians once again grabbing onto and hugging Percival with tears in their eyes, with a smile on Percival's face, ending the chapter. Okay, this is honestly really great. I already dived into my thoughts on certain things in this chapter because there's a lot of info in here that I find really awesome. Biggest thing, Percival not only being able to conjure a magic weapon on his limbs, but make it a very clean construct, but also being able to not just post hitting somebody with his magic power, which I think that's the condition, was able to drain the life out of Worldane using his life spirit powers that originally he only used in his despair mode, showcasing he now has more of a mastery of his abilities. And I think this is primarily due to the fact that he 100% knows who he is and is now fully willing to fight and accept his powers and his role in things. And I think that's amazing. Worldane being part human makes sense for how strong she was. What the other part is, I got no idea. We just have to wait and see. That is if she survived. Again, we have to wait. We have to see a confirmation that she's dead. We have to see a body, or just the Chaos Knights and Arthur saying that she's dead. But either way, she was still a formidable foe, and her being part human, if she is some sort of hybrid creature, hybrid human, would make sense as to why she's so strong, as the hybrids are pretty strong in the Four Knights world as well. So that is incredibly interesting to really think about. And also the fact that Percival essentially undid the curse on King by just making the cause of the curse null and void by reviving the caster. Actually really cool. And now that's how we'll end things off. Percival's back, King's at full strength, everybody's happy, hunky-dory. We still have the Drug of Yore to account for, as it's still not there in the last page. Worldane could still have retrieved it, and that would still be technically a win for them. But still, awesome chapter all around. Another thing I do want to mention before I cap this video off is that now that King's back in his original state, even though it only lasted for a couple of chapters, this still means that Guinevere's future prediction of Arthur fighting the Sins at Leonis and seemingly winning is still going to happen. King getting nerfed was actually a sign of that timeline essentially being rewritten or changing. But now that he's back in his full power mode, at least right now, that future is still going to come. And it seems like we might not be leaving that timeline anytime soon. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. What did you guys think of this awesome chapter? Leave your thoughts, opinions, and theories in the comments section down below. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Man, I cannot wait to see more Fortnite content. We don't have any breaks so far, so we're just going to keep rolling with the punches. I can't wait to see what happens next.